Recently, China's State Council announced a comprehensive child-rearing support policy, which has garnered significant attention. In this discussion, I'd like to introduce the background, the expected impact of this policy, and the potential future direction of China as a nation. Let's begin with this article from October 28, which details this policy on child-rearing support issued by the State Council. Broadly, it focuses on two main aspects. First, there's a focus on children's healthcare, similar to pediatrics in Japan, aiming to improve pediatric healthcare standards and make medical facilities more accessible for children when they fall ill. This includes improving the quality of care available at hospitals. The second aspect is enhancing childcare services. Since many Chinese couples are dual-income households, childcare during working hours can be challenging. Previously, in China, grandparents often took care of grandchildren, but with the increase in migrant labor, more families are raising their children in their new work locations. In earlier times, left-behind children was a common term, referring to children left in rural areas with grandparents while the parents worked in cities. However, as more people now settle permanently in urban areas without returning to their rural hometowns, there is a growing trend of raising children in cities. This shift is largely due to differences in infrastructure, such as education standards and public safety, which are notably better in urban areas. While the migration of families to urban areas for better opportunities is increasing, migrant workers often face economic hardships, making childcare and access to healthcare for their children challenging. This policy aims to address such issues to encourage people hesitant to have children due to these concerns. With improved facilities and support, it's hoped that more families will feel comfortable having and raising children. China is grappling with a severe aging population issue. When I lived in Shanghai, I often heard people say that China must avoid following Japan's path regarding low birth rates and aging. However, now, the issue in China is even more severe than in Japan, especially on a regional level. While China's national average might appear better than Japan's, specific areas are experiencing extreme levels of aging and population decline. In some towns, for instance, economic decline has led to mass urban migration, leaving primarily elderly residents behind. This regional disparity means that in some places, almost all residents are retirees, which poses a financial burden on local governments, as they have to support these residents with limited incoming revenue. In the current model, funds are distributed from economically active areas to support these aging communities, but with an increasingly aging population, the strain on economically active regions will continue to grow, creating an unsustainable future. To alleviate this strain, it's crucial to increase the proportion of the working population. However, with birth rates falling, the working population will continue to shrink, which could ultimately harm the Chinese economy. The government has made moves to relax its previous one-child policy, allowing 2 children per family, but this shift came too late, as birth rates haven't significantly increased. Therefore, China is focusing on creating an environment where having children feels secure and feasible. Yet, this policy hasn't resonated well with the public. This is because the current challenges faced by young people in China go beyond merely choosing not to have children, they involve deeper societal issues. A major factor is the growing number of people who either do not or cannot marry, which is exacerbated by the gender imbalance resulting from the previous one-child policy. Due to cultural preferences for sons, the policy led to an abnormally high male-to-female ratio, leaving a significant portion of men unable to find partners. Another factor is the high cost associated with marriage, especially in poorer regions like southwestern China, where high dowries are expected, making it difficult for those with limited financial resources to marry. In these regions, families often prioritize the financial stability of a prospective son-in-law, which exacerbates social inequality. In contrast, economically prosperous cities like Shanghai may place less emphasis on wealth at marriage due to greater economic opportunities, providing more chances for individuals to climb the social ladder based on their capabilities. Additionally, social mobility is becoming increasingly limited in China. Wealth and power are often inherited, with children of Communist Party officials or military leaders advancing to lucrative positions more easily. This situation creates a super-parent lottery system, where social standing is increasingly tied to one's family background. Concerns about safety also discourage child-rearing. Child abductions, human trafficking, school violence, and food safety issues are prevalent, leaving parents worried. Schools in China are often enclosed environments where children with influential parents may wield significant power, sometimes leading to unchecked violence and bullying. Unfortunately, incidents of student deaths within schools are occasionally reported, but thorough investigations are rare. These challenges and the economic pressures facing young families paint a bleak picture for China's future demographics. It is likely that the aging population issue will continue to worsen, especially in economically struggling areas, leading to a divide where people increasingly congregate in economically prosperous regions. In turn, rural areas may become predominantly elderly communities, dependent on funds redistributed from other regions by the central government. If the government were to stop these subsidies, we might see the rise of local factions or power groups taking over in these regions, similar to the late Qing dynasty, when the central government's control weakened. In fact, such power groups already exist in some areas, monopolizing local resources and creating road tolls or controlling essential services like electricity, gas, and water to extract revenue. This scenario points to a deeply ingrained issue that poses serious long-term challenges for China's future.